Can you give me your problem? Go ahead.
It's 3 over 5
Go ahead.
equals 3 over 10
Okay.
x
Okay.
plus 6.
Plus 6. What are the directions, young lady?
You solve the equation.
Solve the equation. Does it say
Yeah.
Does it say sketch the equation?
You solve for x.
Solving for x.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So we're solving for x. Okay. Young lady, do you know if I were to use the term mastery level understanding? Do you know what that means?
No.
Mastery level understanding means I'm going to ask you to understand this problem so well that you can explain it to your friends and to your teacher in more than one way. Okay?
Okay.
Here we go. So the first way we're going to solve for x here, method 1, method number 1, is we're going to get rid of the fractions. Okay, we're going to get rid of the fractions. So let's start with the original problem. 3/5 is equal to 3/10 x plus 6. Let's get rid of all those fractions, okay? Are you still on the line?
Yeah.
All right, the way you're going to get rid of these fractions is you're going to multiply each of these terms by the least common denominator. You have a denominator of 5, a denominator of 10, and a denominator. Do you know what the denominator is here?
1.
Outstanding. 1. What's the least common denominator between a 5, a 10, and a 1? In other words, what number can you divide each of these numbers into evenly?
I'm on the phone with him.
I want you to see that the number you can multiply, the least common denominator between a 5 and a 10 is a 10. That's the least common denominator. So let's multiply this 10 times 3/5. All right, let's do it over here. 10 times 3/5. The 5 would cancel with the 10, and you get a 2. Okay, so you multiply those, and you get 6. Are you still with me, caller?
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any questions on what I did?
No.
Now let's multiply this 10 by the 3/10. Let's multiply 10 times 3/10. What cancels here? When you multiply these two, what's canceling? Can you tell me?
Wait, what was the question?
I'm multiplying 10 times 3 over 10. And I'm asking you, do you see anything that cancels?
The 10.
Very good. So that becomes a 1. That becomes a 1. And you end up with is equal to 3x. Do you see that?
Yeah.
I multiplied 10 times 3/5 up here, and I got 6. I've multiplied 10 times 3/10 x, and I got 3x because the 10's canceled out. Now what do you think I'm going to do? Can you tell me? I multiplied the 10 times the 3/5. I multiplied the 10 times the 3/10. What do you think I'm going to do now?
Multiply the 10 by the 6.
Very good. What's 10 times 6?
60.
Outstanding, young lady. Now, this is much easier to solve for x. This is much easier to solve for x. What's the major difference between this and our original problem? What's the major difference?
They're not fractions anymore.
Outstanding. It's the same equation, but there are no fractions in the second one. Do you know how to finish the problem to solve for x?
You do 60 minus 6.
Very good. Let's subtract the 60 on both sides. Let's subtract the 60 because I'm trying to get this variable alone. I want to move this number over here with the other number. I want this variable to be alone. So you subtract, you get negative 54 is equal to 3x. You know how to finish it?
You divide 54 by 3.
Very good. Divide 3 on both sides, and let's do that by hand. There's certain things we don't need a calculator for. How many times does 3 go into 54? 3 goes into 5 one time. You multiply, you subtract, and you get 18. X is equal to negative 18. Common mistake is to forget that negative. A negative divided by a positive is a negative, okay? Now, that's only one way to do the problem. Do you have time to do the same problem in another way?
Yeah.
All right, let's do the same problem in another way. Young lady, I want you to go to... First off, I want you to do this on your own. When you hang up the phone, I want you to do everything we just did on your own, okay?
Okay.
And then when you do it, both methods on your own, you go to school, you teach your friends, and you show your teacher, okay?
Okay.
Same problem in another way. All right. So what you told me that the original problem was 3/5 is equal to 3/10 x plus 6. That's the original problem. So now you said you're solving for x. This is a constant, that's a variable, and that is a constant. Some teachers talk about an inverse operations. So here you're multiplying, here you're adding. You go in inverse operations order, you'd have to subtract 6 on both sides because you're trying to get this variable alone. You're trying to get this variable alone. You're going to do inverse operations. Inverse of addition is subtraction, so you're going to subtract 6. Do you understand what I'm saying, young lady?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yep.
All right, so here we go. So now you got to be able to subtract 3/5 minus 6. 3/5 minus 6 over 1. Do you know how to subtract those fractions?
Yeah, is it...
I'm listening.
Is it 30 over 5 minus 3 over 5?
Okay, so the common denominator is 5. That's good. Very good, young lady. So 1 times what gives you 5? 1 times what will give you 5?
Oh, 5.
Times 5. So I'm going to multiply this by 5, and I get 30 over 5 like you said. What do you have to multiply 5 by to get this 5?
1.
1. So I'm going to multiply this by 1 to get 3. So I get 3 minus 30. And I end up with a negative 27 over 5. Okay? Negative 27 over 5 is equal to 3/10 x. All right? So now I'm going to solve for x. Are you still with me on the phone?
Yes.
All right, how am I going to solve for this x here?
Cross cancel.
Okay, I could multiply both sides. I could multiply both sides by the reciprocal of this, which would be 10 over 3. Multiply both sides by 10 over 3. And that's going to cross cancel the 10 here and the 3 here. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm multiplying these two. This would cancel out. That would cancel out. I end up with x is equal to, now I'm multiplying these two. All right, so I end up canceling here and here. Each of these are divisible by 5. Okay, so this divided by 5 is 1. This 10 divided by 5 is 2. I'm sorry. That is 2. Each of these are divisible by 3. You divide this by 3, you get 1. You divide this by 3, you get 9. Okay? So now you got a 2 times a negative 9, and you'll end up with a negative 18. 1 times 1 is 1. But the final answer is negative 18. It's a 2 times a negative 9. You get negative 18 here, and you get negative 18 there. I want you to try to do that by yourself. You understand?
Yeah.
And if you have trouble, you call me at school and you leave your phone number. You make sure your parents say it's okay for you to leave your phone number, and you call me at write down this phone number, 773-722-4600. My extension is 3001. If you can't do that on your own, you call me, okay? And then when you're able to do it on your own, you show your friends. Mastery level understanding. You can solve the same problem in more than one way. You have any questions, young lady?
No.
All right. You never give up in school, and you put forth your best effort, okay?
Okay.
And you call back. You call back next time you have questions. Thank you for calling.